Earlier this year I bought a couple of old Gazelle parts bicycles with rod brakes. I was planning to use these to fix up the old beige Gazelle bicycle that I inherited from my uncle. The green 1980s bicycle is already living in my blue scrap metal container, and this early 90s Gazelle Special was supposed to follow shortly. But the plan has changed, as so often happens. We got a friend coming over, and she likes to cycle but is unable to bring her own bicycle. So the new plan is to get this one rolling again. And at the moment this bicycle is not able to roll, because the ring lock is locked and the key is gone. So I'm not really able to determine how feasible this plan is. But at first glance it doesn't look that bad. It needs new tires and the pedals are probably full with rusty bolts. It might also need a new chain, and it definitely needs another saddle. This old Dutch skirt saddle is a bit leaking and is no fun to sit on. But till I can take out this bicycle for a test ride, I don't really know how much work or how much money it will cost to bring back this bicycle on the road. Luckily I do have some spare parts laying around. So the first thing that I need to do is cut off this ring lock and remove some other redundant bits.
I think this is a leftover from an old block. Let's see if the seat post is... Well, that might be fucked up. I think there's some sort of sleeve in here, maybe to fit this seat post. It's also rather high, and this saddle is also pretty high. I guess this bicycle was used by a large or a tall person, maybe also large. Fuck it, leave it. So this here is all of the crap that I don't need. Now I'm going to tape up the seat tube, and then I'm going to pressure wash the bicycle, and then tonight I'll try and install a couple of new tires. That's turning nice and true. Apparently there is a chain in the case, and the wheel is still turning despite the fact that the tire is off the rim. This rear tire still looks usable. Well, I'll set this in the sun to dry. I am kinda amazed how good this rod linkage still is. There's hardly any rust. I'm thinking this might turn into a usable bicycle. I was going to quickly fix the rear tire and take the bike out for a test ride, but then I found this, and I guess I will have to spread the frame and replace the inner tube, but that will have to wait till this evening, because I'm going to sit in the sun for a while. So the Gazelle Special has been drying in the sun this afternoon. Let's first remove this inner tube so I can spin the rear wheel. And next I want to have a look at the chain. I guess that looks as expected. Sounds like the chain is rubbing against the chain case. It's not all that loose. Whoa, I guess there was some water inside the chain case. Yeah. Dry and dirty. This park tool for measuring the stretch of the chain is pretty much useless without removing the rest of the chain case. I'll spray on some WD-40 and let it soak in, and then I will clean off most of the dirt. Damn, this pedal feels terrible. There must be some rusty ball bearings in there. Next I'm going to see if all the gears are there. This is a third gear. Sounds good. And it feels good. Although it is rubbing against the chain case. Switching to second gear. Cable is a bit, let's see, the cable is a bit stiff. Oh, that's pretty dry. Later I will squirt in some oil. Third, second. It feels like second. I had to move the shifter on the handlebar, otherwise I could not shift into first gear. But this should be first gear. Second. First again. I think it's good, but I'm not completely sure. So I placed the bicycle at an angle, leaning against the barn doors. And next I'm going to take off the chain, or this shifting pin, and then I will squirt in a little bit of oil. I feel grease, a little bit of motor oil. Oh, most of it ran out through the hole on the side, but I think some of it went inside. I don't feel any stiff links or links that are frozen up or rusted solid, so I think it's going to be okay. I will loosen up the axle nuts, and then I will tighten up the chain tensioners. I already loosened up the axle nut on the other side, and I did not forget the brake reaction arm. That's half a turn. That's about 3/4 of a turn. That's pretty much tight enough. And on the other side. Well, it's not, well, it's probably sitting alright. I'll leave it like this. It definitely feels a bit tight, but the chain probably still has to loosen up. I'll leave it like this for now. So after tightening up the chain and some more WD-40, it already sounds better, but it's still not perfect. And to be honest, it probably needs a new chain. Feels like there's a bit of a stiff point around here. Yeah. I should really take off the whole chain case and look at the chain ring, but that's too much work. I might do it after I had a test ride. This is a third gear, second, and first. And it definitely feels like all of the gears are working. Moving into second. And by the way, I do not like this type of chain guard with these fancy trim pieces. They always rattle. They come loose and then they'll get bent up, taken off, thrown out. They're more, yeah, they're not really worth the looks. There are definitely some weird noises coming from third gear. Maybe I should loosen the chain up just a little bit. It sounds a bit, I don't know. It just doesn't sound very smooth. But yeah, it is third gear. Not the most usable gear. It is definitely better in second gear. Perhaps that hub just needs some clean and re-oil. But yeah, that's too much work. Now let's install an inner tube. So the rear brake seems to work. Alright, let's loosen up the brake reaction arm, the axle nut and the brake rod, and then I will use my frame spreaders, and hopefully I can create enough room to install a new inner tube. No washer. Of course I also need to remove the chain tensioner, but I'm starting to think that perhaps it's a better idea to just remove the whole wheel. Yeah, I think I will do that. It's only a little bit more work, but it should be a lot easier. And there's the wheel. And now it should be a lot easier to also swap out this tire, because I do not really like it, and I do have a set of perfectly usable Schwalbe Marathons. And here's the wheel again, including a Schwalbe Marathon tire, 42 millimeters. I should have taken out the chain case, cleaned everything, looked inside the drum brake, cleaned everything, taken the hub apart, cleaned everything, but I didn't. I want to get this done and this bicycle rolling, and then I can move on to other things. Of course, with this fat tire I cannot install the wheel because of the mud guard. So I'm letting the air go. And of course I'm forgetting the damn chain tensioners. Always forgetting those damn chain tensioners. So let's do this again, this time with the chain tensioners. If I have to say chain tensioners one more time, I will shout or scream. And here's the wheel again, this time with the shout, both of them. I think I don't think anymore. I'm stopping for today because I had enough. No. Don't give up. Get this thing finished. And also a washer for the other side. Move. Come on. Slide forward. Okay. I think I'm nearly there. It feels like the frame is, the chainstays have been spread out a bit, because there's lots of room for the axle between the frame. Why is this so difficult? Well, if it won't play ball, you gotta force it. That's how everything works in life. Maybe a bit too tight. Huh, the axle is definitely protruding further into the hole in the side of this nut. So somewhere I'm missing a washer, but to be honest, I cannot be bothered right now. All kinds of noises that I don't really like. And of course I forgot the bracket for the shifting cable. And this also acts as a anti-rotation washer. But it looks like it already had a hard time. And to be honest, I didn't see any anti-rotation washer on the other side. That's kind of weird. Well, I will bolt this up and then I will go for a quick test ride. Good morning, and it's the next day. Yesterday evening, when it was almost dark, I did a little test ride and it wasn't all that successful. The bicycle rolls, it's straight, the brakes work, but there's a weird crunching sound coming from the rear axle. And if you actually watch this video so far, you will definitely have heard it before. But till I took my test ride, it wasn't apparent to me that it was going to be a problem. So I think I will have to take apart the Sturmey Archer 3-speed and clean it and re-lube it. But the problem might also be with the cups and cones from the rear axle. Not really sure yet. But there's another bigger issue. My ass, with the help of gravity, has not been able to sit this seat post loose. And as you can see, the fastener here for this strap is completely loose. I'm not sure what happened here. It looks like something got bent or was misformed for some reason. I don't know what happened here. I think maybe they tried out a seat post that was too small and then tightened up this nut really hard, and that misformed the frame here, and now this log is no longer working. Yeah, that's a real big problem, because I have no idea how to get this thing loose. And if I can get the seat post out, if I will be able to reinstall it, this might be the end for this frame. But I'll go and visit the local bike guy and ask him for advice. So I placed the bicycle upside down because I want to replace the front tire. But first, before I take a test ride, let's see if I can reproduce that crunching sound that is coming from the rear hub. And these pedals, by the way, have improved significantly, and I've basically done nothing to them. And I'm currently in third gear. I don't hear it. Yeah. Come on. Make that weird crunching noise. I just shifted to second gear. Let's try this again. The only thing I did so far was put some WD-40 on the shifting cable. This is hard to believe. Well, I quickly took a test ride, but the problem is not gone. Got it. Now I will install that swap tire. Yeah, this will work. Now where's that little red piece? I guess I will be searching. Well, I did manage to find that little red piece. It was underneath the bicycle. I'll adjust the brakes later. And I believe once I tighten up these mudguards stays. Well, maybe not. The tire is still rubbing a little bit against the mudguard. But perhaps there is some room for a adjustment. Well, no way back now. I guess I will be trying this tire. I got bigger problems to worry about than this fat tire. It'll work out. So, later today, when the wind dies down a bit, I will take this bicycle out for a test ride, see if I can capture some video with that weird crunching noise that is coming from the rear hub. While it is still rather breezy outdoors, I can do a little indoor testing. And I can definitely feel some vibration coming through the frame, and that must be from the rear hub bearings. I'll later on, usually in the evening when it cools down, the wind dies down, and then I should be able to take this bicycle out for a little test ride.
Well, good evening. It's almost 8 o'clock and most of the wind is gone. And I'm hoping you can hear the pepper grinding noises coming from the rear hub. But I'm planning to cycle through a bicycle tunnel, so that should improve the noise a little bit, because there won't be any wind noise in a tunnel. I just need to cycle slowly. Despite the weird noises coming from the rear hub, the bicycle is okay. The brakes work. It is steering straight. Although I must say it is a bit too small for me. It's getting a bit overcast. A few hours ago the sun was still shining. Up ahead they redid the surface. They actually did the whole intersection. But over here on those bricks, a few days ago I took a bit of a tumble right there. But then there was still sand and no bricks. Here's the tunnel, and I'm braking, so I will not go too fast. climb without shifting. Whoa, that sounds terrible. It is kind of weird that upside down in the barn. You could not really hear that noise. Damn moped. Go past. Ah. No respect for my stinking bastards. So I thought it would be a good idea to cycle one more time through that tunnel, in case the first recording didn't, well, was fucked up. And now I'm coasting and braking. Enjoying the gravity. Yeah. It sounds real bad. Especially now that I need to pedal hard. Alright, I think I got enough. And this video is more than long enough. So it's time to stop. And I'll continue with the Gazelle Special in another video. Or maybe not, because I'm not sure if I'm able to fix this bicycle because of that fixed seat tube. It is really in there, rock solid. Alright, to be continued.